Hello, friends. This is Venu, and I'm back for another presentation on what's happening around the world in the game of cricket, and more specifically related to which two teams can make it to the WTC final. There are 15 more tests to go to decide in this WTC cycle which two teams can make it to the final that is going to be held in June next year. Now, suddenly the South Africans have surged ahead. They've got everything going for them. They've got all four home tests. They couldn't have asked for a better setting for them to decide. It is all in their hands, and it is their opportunity to lose. If they don't get into the WTC final, they'll have a lot of blame to take on themselves. They beat Sri Lanka very convincingly in the first test, and the second test is due in some days' time, and that will decide a lot of things on the direction which the South Africans will be heading in their quest for getting into the final of the WTC. On the Indian side, um, they look very likely. They seem to have put the New Zealand series pounding that they took, if I can use that term. They seem to have put it all behind, and they look a resurgent and very well prepared side. What is also going in their favor is Josh Hazelwood missing the second test because of injury. And no one who follows cricket can forget what Hazy did to us the last time we were at Perth. So, and that too was a total that was very similar to what Sri Lanka cobbled up in the first test against South Africa, the previous one. So, is the exit of Hazelwood for this test good for us? Indeed, a bowler of the quality of Hazelwood will be missed by any team. Definitely, the Australians will miss him, but I do not think the Indians should take it for granted because Scott Boland takes wickets by the buckets. Takes a lot of wickets every time he gets a chance. And um, two things that will work that can work against the Indians. One is that Scott Boland will be fighting for a permanent place in the Aussie team, so he'll give it his best. Stark and Cummins have had good rest between the two tests. They'll be itching to correct the anomaly of the first test, and every Australian I don't think it's great news for the Indians that Steve Smith is fighting for his place in the team because we all know Steve Smith is just one knock away from making a comeback. And when he makes a comeback, he can be a real pain for any team. For all the hammering that Labuschagne is getting, I think it is not a very clever thing to write him off just yet. He too is maybe a couple of knocks away, unlike Smith, who's just one knock away from getting back into his groove. Labuschagne is nothing if not a fighter, and he will come back. For me, he should be there in the Aussie team, even though I know it'll be great if he's kept out of the Aussie team because that will weaken them. It's like Virat Kohli not being in the team. Virat Kohli is not only a batter, he's a great influence in many other ways. The chirp that both Labuschagne and Kohli are famous for, the suggestions, the ideas, the inputs that they keep giving the bowlers and the batters from time to time and the team, I think it'll be not a very clever ploy from the Aussies to keep Labuschagne away. Now, when he's itching, he too, like Steve Smith, will be very, very keen to correct things and keep his place in the team. But the Aussies are definitely in trouble. They are on the back foot, but do take Ravi Shastri's word seriously. Don't write off these Aussies. They'll come back and they'll come back fighting. And So that's about Australia. That also is about the South African chances of. How about New Zealand? How about Sri Lanka? Sri Lanka have slipped substantially, and the way they are playing, they don't seem to be able to put together. Their batting seems to be a problem. Their bowling is a very, very good unit now, especially in the helpful South African conditions. So Sri Lanka have shot themselves in the foot, like I said in my last presentation. But New Zealand have actually not done their cause any good at all. They slipped substantially against an English side. That is a joy for me. I would have really wished this English side made it to the final of the WTC and against whichever team. And Harry Brook, Joe Root, Ben Duckett, Ben Stokes going hammer and tongs at the bowlers would have been a fantastic sight and a great advertisement for the WTC final. But that's for another day. England seems most, I mean, they don't seem to have a technical chance of getting into the final. Everything will have to go against the other teams and in their favor. Perhaps even that won't be enough. So the top three teams that are in contention, South Africa have a very, very good chance, and uh, they can decide the course of things from now on. They have to beat Pakistan when they come. They have to beat the Sri Lankans in the second test, and if they slip, then they'll run the risk of allowing the others. And who should be the two best teams to get to the final? I think the Indians should, and I'm not talking out of emotion, that this is the best drilled team, the most complete team in the world at this point of time. And for sure, the Aussies. I would rate the Aussies to meet us in the final. I would actually prefer the South Africans to meet us in the final because their batting is very fragile. The fact that they're having to depend so much on Temba Bavuma is not good news for them. And in case in the only match that is played in the WTC final, if the South Africans get to bat first on a spicy pitch, I see them headed for a lot of trouble. In fact, the Indians are more equipped, far better equipped to deal with those kind of conditions, as was shown in the Perth Test itself. The 150 that the Indians got um, at the end of the match looked like a very, very good effort. Although it didn't look like that, when that innings ended. So everything going good. Um, Scott Boland is a major threat. The Indians better watch out, and everything to look forward to in the next 2 weeks because a lot of clarity will come on at least one of the teams that will make it to the final, and over course of time it will be known which is the second team that will get to the final. So do keep watching, and I'll come up with another presentation on the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats for every team individually. Thank you so much for your time.